This happened to you last Friday. I know it did. It's 5:30 p.m. You've just survived another 45-hour work week. Your brain is completely fried. The thought of cooking a meal feels like climbing Mount Everest in dress shoes. So you pull up the delivery app, Thai food, pizza, burgers, doesn't matter, $45 with a tip. You get home, crack open a beer to take the edge off, and sink into the couch to binge a show you don't even like. Just to turn your brain off, you tell yourself, I earned this. I worked hard all week. But what if I told you that mathematically you didn't just spend $45? What if the gas you burned driving home, the clothes you wore to look professional, and the stress that forced you to order that food are all hidden taxes reducing your salary by nearly 70%? You think you're selling your time for $30 an hour. But after we do the forensic accounting on your life, the math proves you might actually be working for less than $4 an hour. My name is Evan, and I spend way too much time obsessing over the invisible equations that keep us running on hamster wheels, moving slightly faster than we can run. If you look at your paycheck and wonder where it all goes, or if you're working harder than ever, but your savings account is basically flat, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because today we're not talking about investing, we're talking about an accounting fraud, not one committed by a corporation, but one you're unknowingly committing against yourself every time you accept a job offer based on the gross salary. We're going to calculate your real hourly wage. And I have to warn you, once you see this number, you will never look at a price tag the same way again. Here's the fundamental lie we've been sold since graduation. We're told our value is our annual salary. If you make $65,000 a year, that's roughly $31 an hour. Sounds respectable. Sounds like you should be doing okay. But in business, looking at revenue without looking at expenses is how companies go bankrupt. If a bakery sells $1 million in bread but spends $1.1 million on flour and rent, that bakery is worth zero. Yet when it comes to our own labor, we only look at the revenue, the salary. We completely ignore the cost of goods sold. And the good being sold, that's you, your life, your energy, your time with your family. Let me show you what I mean. Meet Alex. He's 34, works in project management, makes that respectable $65,000 a year, $31 an hour. His daughter asked him this morning why he's always tired. He didn't have an answer. Let's perform a brutal audit of Alex's real economics. That $31 an hour. Before it even hits his account, the government takes its cut. Federal tax, state tax, FICA. That $31 is instantly shaved down to about $24. That's the easy math. We all know that part. But now we have to subtract the work-related costs, the expenses Alex pays solely for the privilege of having his job. First, the commute. The average American spends thousands of dollars a year on gas, car maintenance, and insurance just to get to the building where they make the money. Alex drives 30 minutes each way. That's wear and tear on a vehicle he basically only owns to get to work. Conservative estimate, $4,000 a year. Second, the appearance tax. Alex can't roll out of bed in pajamas and show up to the office. He needs business casual clothes, dry cleaning, a decent haircut. Looking professional costs money. Third, the convenience tax. This is the big one. Because Alex is at the office from 9 to 5, he buys lunch twice a week because meal prep feels impossible. He buys the $5 coffee to survive the 2 p.m. meeting. He pays for the dog walker because he's not home. These are costs that would not exist if he didn't have the job. He's spending money to work. Fourth, decompression spending. This is the darkest category. This is the money Alex spends to numb the pain of the job, the Friday night bar tab, the impulsive vacation he books because he needs to get away, the therapy, the retail therapy, the weekend splurge because he deserves it after the week he had. This is money spent to heal the damage the job inflicts on his psyche. When you add these up, the taxes, the car, the clothes, the lunches, the numbness, Alex isn't taking home $65,000. His net real income is closer to $35,000. But we're only halfway through the equation because wage is a function of money divided by time. And just like we overestimate the money, we drastically underestimate the time. HR says Alex works 40 hours a week, but that's a lie. Alex wakes up at 6:30 a.m. to shower, shave, and put on the clothes his job requires him to wear. That's 30 minutes of unpaid labor for his employer. He drives 30 minutes to work, unpaid labor. He takes an hour for lunch, technically off the clock, but he can't go home, he can't nap, he can't play with his daughter. He's held captive by the office. Then he drives 30 minutes home, unpaid labor. When he finally gets home, he spends another 30 minutes decompressing, staring at the wall, venting to his wife about his boss, checking emails on his phone because work is never really over. All of this is shadow work, time that belongs to the job, but the job doesn't pay for it. If you add up the grooming, the commuting, the captive lunch hour, and the decompressing, Alex isn't working 40 hours a week. He's dedicating 60 hours a week to his employment. So now let's do the real math, the real hourly wage calculation. We take Alex's whittled down net income of $35,000 and we divide it by his true hours committed to the job, 3,000 hours a year. When you punch that into a calculator, that $31 an hour evaporates. Suddenly Alex is making $11.67 an hour in high stress, high cost of living scenarios. He's mathematically making less than the teenager flipping burgers down the street. Because that teenager walks to work, wears a uniform the company provides, and leaves the stress at the fry station when the shift ends. This is the work scam. You've been tricked into a high-churn, low-margin business model where you are the product and you're selling yourself at a loss. And here's the part that should make you angry. When you spend your money on the costs of working, the commute, the convenience food, the decompression spending, you're not just losing that money, you're robbing your future self of compound interest. That $5 a day Alex spends on coffee because he's too exhausted to brew it at home, over 30 years invested at 7%, that's nearly $200,000. Alex isn't just drinking coffee, he's drinking his retirement, he's drinking his freedom, he's drinking the college fund he wishes he could build for his daughter. The system relies on you being too exhausted to do this math. They want you thinking, I make good money, so you keep signing the lease on the luxury apartment, financing the car, buying the stuff, keeping you trapped in the cycle of needing the job to pay for the things you bought, to tolerate the job. So what's the solution? The answer is not quit your job tomorrow and live in the woods. We're being realistic. We have bills. The solution is to ruthlessly optimize your real hourly wage. This becomes your new metric for success, not income, efficiency, not how much you make, how much you keep, and how much time you have left to actually be a human being. Here's what you do. Step 1, calculate your real wage this weekend. I'm serious. Not when you're tired on Friday. When you're fresh on Sunday morning, run the numbers. Be brutally honest about your commute costs, your taxes, your convenience spending, your decompression spending. Divide your net pay by your total hours committed to the job, including shadow work. Write that number on a sticky note. My real wage, $11.67. Put that sticky note on your credit card. Put it on your steering wheel. Put it somewhere you'll see it before you make a dumb decision. Step 2, start treating your labor like a business. A smart business owner doesn't just try to increase revenue, they try to increase margin. Your life is the business, your margin is the time and money you have left over after you've covered your real costs. If you're making $100,000 a year but spending $95,000 and working 80 hours a week, you're a failing business. Your Enron waiting to collapse. But if you make $50,000, spend $20,000 and work 30 hours a week, you're a highly profitable, robust enterprise. You're winning. Step 3, negotiate your real wage up. Can you work from home 2 days a week? If you save 2 hours of commuting and $10 of gas, you just gave yourself a massive raise without the company paying you a dime more. Can you meal prep on Sundays? That lowers your cost of goods sold. Can you move closer to work? Can you stop caring what your co-workers think of your clothes? Every dollar of work expense you cut is a dollar of pure freedom. Step 4, use the sticky note filter. The next time you're about to buy something, those $100 shoes, that $60 dinner, that $1,200 phone, look at that sticky note. My real wage, $11.67. Ask yourself, am I willing to trade 9 hours of my life sitting in traffic, dealing with emails and missing my family for this plastic junk? That friction will save you more money than any budget app ever could. We're living in an era where time is the ultimate currency. The rich are buying time. The poor are selling it at a discount. Don't sell your life at a discount. Audit your real economics. Cut the vampire costs. Build a gap between your income and your expenses, because that gap, that's where your freedom lives. That's where you get to be present when your daughter asks why you're always tired and actually have an answer. If this video made you rethink your paycheck, share it with a coworker who looks exhausted. We're all in this trap together, but we can math our way out of it. I'm Evan, and I'll see you in the next one.